In this video, I'm going to make a really boring game. I'm going to code the game so that when I click the clicker up to the point of winning scores, it is going to update the score, and then when it wins, it's going to go to the victory screen. I'm also going to create a function, at least one function, to start managing the complexity of the game and to use some procedural abstraction. But first, when I click the button, what I want to happen is I want the variable cache to increase by 1, and eventually cache per click, but I'm going to save that for later. For right now, I'm going to go to variables, and I don't want to redeclare the variables. If I redeclare the variables, they'll start over. Instead, what I want to do is I want to reassign the variable to a new value every time I click the clicker button. So I want to take that cache value, and I want that cache value to start at the current cache value. For example, if it's at 7, I want it to start at 7 and then increase by 1 and eventually cache per click. But for now, 1. So my score is increasing. Great, let's see if it works. Oh, shoot, nothing's happening. Well, just like a tree falling in the woods, you may remember from previous programming courses, you can change the variable in memory, but unless you output it to the screen, it's like a tree falling in the woods. It falls, but if no one's around to hear it, nobody knows it fell. Ha ha ha. So here, I'm going to actually change the score by changing this label score. So I'm going to go to UI controls, and I'm going to set the text of the label score to be the current value of cache. Now, by default, it wants to do this, which, as you can see, is not going to perform like I want it to. What I want to happen is I want it to be the variable cache. So I got to get rid of the quotation marks, which code.org makes challenging. So just keep fighting it, and it gives you a bunch of error messages like, oh no, what did I break? Oh wow, I'm so smart I fixed it. So that's what we're looking for. And now look at that, I have a cookie clicker game. Is that absolutely awesome? Wowzers. Okay, so there's my first start to that. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to detect if the cache has reached the level of the winning score, which in this case is 10, I want it to go to the victory screen. So I'm going to add that code in. But this button here is starting to get a little long, and it's starting to get do many things. So I'm going to add some procedural abstraction to this, and I'm going to add it I'm going to make a function called, oops, I'm going to drag that out, sorry. I'm going to make a function called check for win. And every time it goes to check for win, what's going to happen is it's going to see if the person has won the game. If they've won the game, it's going to take them to the victory screen. So in order to check for win, I'm going to use one of those those classic if statements, and I'm going to say if cache, and again I could drag blocks, there are blocks for all this, but I'm just going to type it for speed. If cache is greater than, right now I'm using 10, but what would be really advanced is if I could make it check the winning score. Right now the winning score is set at 10. So if the amount of cache I have is greater than 10, it's going to go. So if it is 10, I still haven't won. If I wanted it to win at 10, I could go greater than or equals to, but it will trigger this win when you're actually at 11. But so when cache is at winning score, then I want to set the screen to the victory screen. So I'm going to set screen to the winning screen. Now if I run this program, I'm going to be reminded of a song that, hey, now I can sing. And it's kind of like, I don't know, If You Call Me Maybe. So I wrote the function, but I never called the function check for win. So I've got to call the function. So now I'm going to go over here to functions, and I'm going to call the function check for win. So now I've called the function check for win. It's going to check for win every time it runs through this. And then when I get to 11, it goes to the winner screen. I go start again. And then I keep clicking. I go start again. Wait, something is like really strangely wrong. What is going on here? It's like I always win. Well, that is kind of like me. And if you're me, you get sick of winning all the time. But wait a second. When I win, when I go back to the winning screen, it's keeping the score at this like 16 level. I need to reset the score before I go back to the start screen. And then there's going to be something weird that's going to happen. But anyway, let's do that. Let's reset the score. I want cash to now be 0. And then I run it. Oops. I run it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Winner, go back. It says my score is 11. My score is not 11. Now it says it's 1. That is just weird. My score is 11. No, it's not 11. I won. So how can I fix that? Well, it seems like I'm going to be calling this, it would be nice to call this, but since, to clear the screen and put that, value back to 0, but now it's starting to get like kind of cumbersome, and I wonder if I'm going to be like updating the score often, or I'm going to be updating other things like the cost of levels and things like that. So why don't I just make a function that updates the screen? Oops, let's make sure I'm stopped. I'm going to make a function called update, and update screen. And I'm going to use that function to update the screen. And the way what that's going to do is that's going to like set the text of the cache right there. So now it's not going to be in the button clicker. It's going to be here. And then I have to remember to call it. So I'm going to call the function update screen. And then it's going to update that label. Now at the very beginning here, I'm also going to, when I first, after I win, I'm going to make sure I update the screen as well. When I'm back at the, oops, not there. I want to do it when I go back to game, cache to 0, update screen, perfect. Okay, there we go. Now let's run this program. Yeah. Oh, that looks perfect. Yeah, did it. That was a long video. Sorry about that.